What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at The Last of Us Part 1 here, the updated performance with the new patch 1020. And there have been a few little patches since launch, so I want to get in and see if we have any differences from launch day to this version and what we're looking at. Now, taking a look at the patch notes for 1.0.2.0, we have a lot of fixes and little bug fixes and things like that throughout here. We do have one for updated texture streaming to reduce CPU usage, which could help depending on your PC, though I'm not sure it's helping us a lot here on deck. Again, a lot of other fixes as you go down through here, but I want to come down to the bottom where it says Steam Deck. And there are a few fixes here again with the PSO caching, the DualSense controller, and that type of thing, but we're not looking at any major like performance enhancements or fixes, so I wasn't expecting a lot here. As far as settings go, I'm matching what I did on launch day. So 800p, FSR on quality, will adjust that a little bit throughout the game, and low preset with no changes to any of the settings throughout either. And I'm using 4 gigs of VRAM set in the BIOS as usual. And I do want to start off by just comparing the launch version to now what we're running with the newest patch to see if there's any major differences we can see with the CPU usage or the FPS or anything. And for the most part, no matter where I'm at in the game, honestly, there isn't really much difference for us here on Steam Deck when it comes to this patch. We're still maxing out the system pretty well. We're still pretty CPU bound no matter where we are in the game, and while there may be some areas that feel a little better, maybe they feel like sometimes they don't dip as much, sometimes it's actually the opposite where the newer patch version runs worse and sometimes it runs better, and oftentimes they're identical. So for the most part, we're not seeing a lot of change for us here. It's very minimal. There is some difference here, a little bit of alleviation, but not a lot. Even in a GPU bound area like this, for the most part, again, we're seeing pretty much the same kind of performance when we look at launch day versus the new patch. And again, here in the scene with the rain, I've used this a good bit to show CPU usage and that type of thing, and it's basically just running the exact same thing here. So again, no differences really for us since launch to now with the patches, including the newest 1020 version. And when we open things up here and show you the cores and threads here running for the CPU, you'll see that, yeah, pretty much we are staying CPU bound for this game on the Steam Deck, even with the fixes that we've seen. And I'm not really surprised at that. I kind of expected it. This game has really been built oddly and optimized pretty poorly from the ground up, and I think to get it running much better on Steam Deck, they would almost have to really modify the settings in the game to maybe even remove some more things that aren't in options right now for some lower end hardware. Now, I do want to use this scene here to kind of go through FSR just a little bit to show you there's not a ton of improvements there either. So we'll go from quality to off here. We'll only dip a few FPS once things settle here, about 3 FPS on average difference from off to quality. We'll switch things back over to quality here and show you about 27, 28, 29. Not a big difference from our 25 to 27 without FSR here. And then we'll switch over to FSR on balanced, and we're only going to gain maybe 1 FPS. It doesn't do a lot in this scene. And when you're CPU bound, FSR is really not going to do a lot for you. It's really going to be scene by scene. And back over to quality here. Let's jump over to that more GPU bound area where we often have 99% GPU usage, and still similar thing here, FSR on quality for us, and we'll switch over to balanced. Only a very minimal gain when we do that. I do think running quality or balanced is smart though, because it gives you the best overall performance in the game versus just not using FSR at all, which you see here, which you always will lose anywhere from 3 to 5 FPS for the most part if you're not using any FSR. So I think quality or balance, depending on what you're happy with, is going to help you out a little bit in the game still, even though we're not getting a lot of fixes here because we are pretty CPU bound in the game, which you can see in just about any scene. If you open up your overlay and you drop everything down there, look at your cores and threads in this game, you're not going to be holding the best FPS in areas like this, unfortunately. The game stays playable. I haven't had like the crash issues we were having before or anything like that, but the frame rate is rough and the CPU usage obviously very rough. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below for The Last of Us here on the Steam Deck. Do you think this is going to get smoothed out better, or this pretty much what we've got? All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.